Alright, so don't know what's gonna happen here, never do. One thing that came to mind was a sort of idea that I heard about, I don't know if it was from Zen or something. This identification, this misidentification that happens, it's sort of like being a closed fist, right? So okay, here's Mr. Fist walking around, punching people and banging himself onto tables. You know, very closed off, not very multifunctional, just sort of one size fits all. You know, I'm a fist and that's it. Just this fixed identity, apparently. And then he meets Mr. Hand, or Mrs. Hand. And then, you know, he senses that there's something a little bit more flexible and free, and more kind of loose, and not as confined and fixed about the hand. And so Mr. Fist, okay, well, that's interesting. I wonder what that's all about, you know? And he senses some kind of wisdom about being a hand. So he says, well, maybe I want to become a hand. But then he's worried about his fisthood. He's worried about dying and not existing. So he says, well, he says to the hand, well, what happens to me when I die? Right? It's like the fist identity worrying about its own end. And so that's sort of that idea, right? What happens to your fist when you open your hand? It's ridiculous. That's what happens. So that's a very kind of obscure way of pointing. It's the notion of a fixed identity where there isn't one. That's all it is. It's just not there. So the whole death thing, and what happens to me when I die, and what will I become after I die, and I see that there's someone who's died before they died, and I wonder what will happen to me if that happens to me, and all this sort of stuff. It's just a total false identity. It's a total illusion, because there isn't that fist. There's only been the hand. There's the hand fisting, but there's never been actually a fixed fist identity. The hand, with its mobility, flexibility, is able to fixate apparently into a static thing, but it's always the hand. Or the water can freeze into an ice cube, but it's still just H2O, fluid. So it's like that. So it's the same as it is now. That's the whole point. We're pointing to what is now as an actuality rather than a could be for me. There's no could be's for me's in this. There's just what is for no one. So that's not pleasant if I think I'm a me. If I think I'm me, then this isn't a nice idea. It's not a pleasant prospect, because I don't even get to play a part in the thing. I don't even get to be me. There's just what is. You could say I am what is, but there's no separation. So the fist wants to maintain his fisthood as opposed to, you know, so he's separate from the guy that gets punched in the face. He's separate from the table that gets pounded in frustration because of the seeking. But the hand, you know, the real identity, it's like, it is not separate from what's happening. It touches things and it's fluidly aware of this oneness because it senses it with its mobility of consciousness. So you could say that's sort of what it is, that fixedness doesn't need to operate, and then there can be more of those options or flexibility about what happens, because I don't know what's best, so I'm not going to try to run the show with my small ideas anymore, because they're not real. It's like the hamster wheel thing. The hamster doesn't know that he's just in a wheel running around. He doesn't see that there's this huge world happening, because he's so busy just running at the same thing in the wheel. So in the same way, with the optionless fist, there's only a few things that can be done, right? So, you know, I can start a fight, I can bang on a door to try to get into paradise. I don't know, I can't even think of too many things that can be done from this fixed position. So I'm just trying to bash my way into paradise, not seeing that it's always been this. It is this. It is the open handshake maybe, so you don't have to bang your way through the door. It's just a oneness You know, it's a mutual thing. Not that there's two. But I mean, the seeking is always about this sort of gamesmanship of fighting something else. There's two things colliding, but then if you have hands, it's just a celebration, it's an applause. So it's like that, but it's definitely not that. It's just what's happening without all my little elaborate analogies and obscurities in there. It's just the direct taste of this presence is what we're pointing to, with all our little spiels of Zen koans and different things that happen. So this is about seeing that I am that openness already. I am already the deathless eternity. I am that reality. There isn't anything else. And so all my questions were false. They are false. So there's no need to resolve anything. There's no need to say, well, what's it like, or what will happen to me? What is the me, and who knows that? What is aware of this me, this fist? What's aware of this? And the space around all of these contractions that seem to come up. I always paid so much attention to that content, so the contracted sort of focused content of what's happening, instead of just seeing this presence that's allowing all of that to be the case. So there's no need to micromanage or get rid of, because the one that would do that is just an appearance anyway. It's just a matter of looking in and seeing the actual case of things, the actual condition, without having to embellish it. So, or try to do anything about it. Like, get the fist in there and start knocking things around, you know, knock the ego out, you know, put that back into place. No, it's just what is. It's just openly what is, and there's no need to try to move anything. Because moving stuff implies that there's space, and that's what we're pointing to, really. The space-likeness. All the moving around stuff is just more delay tactics, really. Find the mover, find the one who wants to move out, and who doesn't like this, and wants to find another house. Who's the one that wants all that stuff? And what is this awareness that allows for all of this wanting and striving to happen? This is a simple game, if we keep it simple, because there's really no one playing it. There's just the game happening with no central piece on the board. It's just one board, one game happening. So it's simple. We're dealing with something simple here, but having worshipped the intellect for so many years, I'm guessing, it becomes difficult. It seems difficult. So it's really about just seeing that simplicity as it is. The simplicity that says nothing, and that just allows for what's happening. The simplicity that allows for this body to happen. The simplicity that allows the space to just be space, and the objects to just be objects, and for those two to not be two. So simple, simple, that's all. We can just look and see right now that what we are is this presence, and there's no problem. So anyway, thanks a lot, and all the best.